I've been wanting to make this video for a long time, and due to recent events on the platform, I've finally been motivated enough to share my ideas with you. The thing that finally made me jump into action was the whole controversy with the Actman and Quantum TV, in which the YouTuber Actman called out Quantum TV for his poor behavior on YouTube and other platforms. However, instead of Quantum TV suffering any consequences, it was actually the Actman and anyone that supports him that have been suffering sanctions imposed by YouTube, such as demonetization on their videos acknowledging the situation. I won't waste your time explaining the entire thing, so feel free to watch other creators summarizing the matter. There's also the more recent event, where someone pretended to be Bungie and was false flagging videos. Bungie wanted to do something about it, but even them, the billion-dollar company, wasn't able to get any response or help from YouTube at first. Needless to say, people are upset at this blatant show of unfairness and feeling of impotence that it brings. And as a small creator myself, I can definitely understand the demoralizing feeling of yelling into the void about a problem you have, and no one ever seems to care. It's even worse when the people you're yelling at are the ones that manage the website that make your livelihood a reality, or at least as it stands currently. Many creators, big and small, have already expressed their discontent with YouTube on this situation, and all of them will tell you that this isn't the first time they have to make videos like this. In fact, this is quite possibly the 10 millionth time in the 16 years that I've been on this website that I've witnessed creators uniting against YouTube due to some injustice that they could have prevented. The common thing that you'll see from every creator's take on these issues is how tired all of them are at having to create Twitter drama at YouTube's expense. Whether it's about unfair copyright claims, a problematic figure on the platform, the addition or removal of features on the website, scam artists thriving on their platform, or anything else you could possibly come up with, YouTube never does anything about it, unless every single popular YouTuber bands together to threaten the company with bad press. If you ask for my personal opinion, I am just as tired as they are, to the point that I don't really see myself having a future on this platform as a content creator anymore, and many other creators share that same feeling. There's simply too many things that can go wrong that puts everyone's livelihood at risk. And I'm sure there's a ton of smaller channels that have lost hope entirely. Working hard on a video and growing their audience is now pointless because you never know when drama, copyright issues, false flagging, or simply YouTube not liking you because of something that you said or a topic that you covered will result in demonetization, strikes on your channel, videos getting deleted, or worse, your entire channel getting deleted. As the years go by, YouTube seems to get stupider and stupider. Every day they understand us less and do the opposite of what we desire, instead favoring giant companies and forcing a family-friendly image upon everyone or else. I know that all of this has been very doom and gloom so far, and believe me, I didn't make this video to make you feel depressed. I just wanted to show you the reality that we're facing and to pose the following question. Is there anything that we can do about it? Read what I just said very carefully. I asked if there's anything we can do. Not YouTube. We. Us. What can we do to solve these issues? Or at the very least, start taking steps in a different direction that will make things better for all of us in the long term. Because even if YouTube fixes any of the current issues, that doesn't mean that we won't end up in square one again, complaining about a different thing that YouTube's doing wrong and receiving no answers. So I took some time to think, and tried to come up with a potential solution. Obviously, there's no perfect, foolproof plan that will fix every single little thing, so just take this video as somewhat of a pitch that I'm throwing out there. It's just an idea, and I highly encourage all of you to share your ideas in the comments, or by making your own video on the subject. You don't have to agree with anything I say. My goal here is mostly to get you thinking about this stuff, and you can draw your own conclusions later that you can then share with others if you wish. So, what's the solution? Or at least my pitch for a potential solution. TLDR, make your own website, put up a Patreon, and bring your audience with you. Fuck YouTube, the end. Okay, obviously I'm gonna go into significantly more detail than that, but that's basically the gist of it. Let's go ahead and break this idea down, shall we? The main problem is that we're putting all of our eggs into one basket, and that basket has a giant YouTube logo on it. Even if you have sponsorships and donations, it doesn't stop the fact that your business is primarily run on YouTube, so it's their house, their rules. No channel, no business. None of us like how YouTube improperly and inconsistently enforces these rules, but nobody ever leaves. Most of us just keep uploading and try to deal with it, myself included. I always found that a little strange, especially when considering how many years we've suffered through this. When you walk into a restaurant and you don't like the food, you don't keep coming back, you leave and find something that's better, right? Or if you work at that restaurant and your boss treats you like crap, eventually there's a breaking point where you just quit, unless you have literally no other choice but to work at that restaurant. That's basically what YouTube is right now. YouTube is a horrible restaurant that everyone hates working for, but there's literally no other place you can work at, so you stay. It's like an abusive relationship where one side keeps doing you dirty, but you stay with them anyway because you have no other way to make money. It's silly when I see videos talking about how much they love YouTube and they owe everything to YouTube, but that's in the same video where they talk for the millionth time about how YouTube never does anything to improve the platform, even if you're a billion-dollar company like Bungie. And there, ladies and gentlemen, is the problem. We all love YouTube, because there's nothing else to love but YouTube. If we had something else, we'd probably see a lot more people loving that instead, unless it ends up being worse somehow. However, when looking at a giant corporation that doesn't care about us, I don't think the solution is jumping ship to another giant corporation that doesn't care about us. In fact, relying on just one entity to manage everything and solve all of our problems is never going to be the solution. One company ruling everything, and everyone, will only bring us back to where we are currently. The world is a big place, and not everyone lives life in the same way. When you have such a diverse group of people of different races, cultures, ages, etc., all compressed into one website, you're bound to have problems crop up. It's only natural. Some people will inevitably disagree with the way that things are done, or have political differences. Some creators will try to push the limits of what's possible, risking copyright troubles, drama, controversies, and other problems. Some people are just a chaotic mess that want to see the world burn, so they'll go out of their way to make everyone else's lives as miserable as possible by trolling or stoking the fires of conflict, which then makes the entire platform look bad, even if you had nothing to do with it. Some of them are not chaotic, but rather sneaky in how they can manipulate their audience into a scam, something that is sadly very common on YouTube and other platforms. That's why a big part of my pitch involves creating your own website. But let me expand on what I mean by that before you go to the comments and tell me that it's a bad idea. This idea of just make your own website is not a new thing. But in my opinion, I think most sites have been approaching this situation with a misguided perspective. All of the examples of failed websites that I know people will point out, like Storyfire, VidMe, Blip TV, and many others, have a somewhat similar pattern in trying to directly compete with YouTube in some way. And whichever website doesn't want to do that, they usually go for this counterintuitive angle of for creators by creators, where creators can make lots of money posting their videos with us. Why do I say it's counterintuitive? Well, because YouTube is not just for creators. As difficult as it is to believe, content creators are not the majority. In fact, I might even go as far as to argue that that is not what makes YouTube great. We are severely outnumbered by just regular, normal people that want to watch videos, and that's what YouTube is tailored to the consumers. Your website that wants to compete with YouTube will never succeed unless you let absolutely everyone from everywhere ever upload anything, just short of the obvious things like, say, porn or piracy. Although you can pretty easily find both of those things on YouTube as well. A popular content creator doesn't compare to stuff like how to change a tire, top 10 memes 2022, all cutscenes from a video game compiled into a movie, a random clip from a documentary they like, a clip from a movie or TV show they like, listening to their favorite music whether it's from an official channel or not, listening to remixes from music that they like, tutorials on how to get stuff on their computer to work, cringe videos that weirdos upload that we then make fun of. There's an almost infinite amount of stuff that you can find on YouTube that has absolutely nothing to do in any way at all to just a personality on camera that has opinions on things. That's only a tiny bit that comprises the world of YouTube. That's why sites like VidMe failed, because they're like a level 1 RPG character trying to defeat a level 99 boss, and they make it even worse by advertising themselves as a platform for already established creators to benefit from it, as opposed to a platform that exists for everyone to benefit from it. Even YouTube, despite how much criticism we give it, knows that this is the way to go. It's less about YouTuber angry video game review and more about monkeys react to magic tricks compilation or Dragon Ball Super Broly full movie HD English subs download. But I digress. Having a place that handles everything is not the kind of website I'm visualizing that will compete with YouTube. I'm thinking about something else. What I have in mind is more than just one website, but rather many websites. Instead of relying on just your YouTube channel, you have your own website, where you have complete control of every aspect of it. Nowadays, it's super easy to find WordPress templates on the internet for pre-made looks and designs that you can customize later. There's sites like Squarespace that you can see sponsoring YouTubers all the time that help you build a website without having to know anything about coding. It sounds hard, but it's actually easier than ever to have a website. Even Streamlabs lets you have your own basic web page if you're a streamer. Actually, there's a lot of bigger creators that already have a website, but they don't use it as a platform for their own content. Usually, this is just used as a storefront or a portfolio and not much else. In my opinion, I think this is a horrendous and tragic waste of potential. The one thing that can free us all from the clutches of YouTube, and nobody's really using it. Having your own website is great because it's yours. Customize it all you want, moderate it all you want, have as much or as little as you want. Full control is yours. You're not limited to just a few characters. You can add all of the context you want with a long blog post. Or you can put videos or live streams or podcasts or pictures, right? You don't like that YouTube removed dislikes? Screw it, have it on your own website. Remember when people got mad when YouTube channels that used to look like this now look like this? Well, with your own website, you can make it look like however you want, with more crappy tiled backgrounds that you can shake a 2006 stick at. However, when problems arise, you can't blame YouTube anymore, can you? You have to blame yourself, and that's a hard thing to handle. That's why most people don't leave YouTube, because it's easy to throw all responsibility to the big company. But what if you're the one in that position? What would you do? Blame someone else? All that freedom comes at a price, both literally and metaphorically. But it will divide the children from the adults. You'll clearly be able to tell who's taking the content creator life seriously and who chickens out the moment they gotta put some effort into something, or they have to answer for some problems arising. The greatest thing about YouTube is also the worst part. Anyone, literally anyone, can just open up a channel and start uploading. There might be unexpected success stories where people that didn't plan to become popular YouTubers ended up in that position because they did great work for fun, and now they can do it for a living, which is always an amazing thing to see. But then, there's the opposite of that spectrum. People that essentially use their YouTube channels as a glorified get-rich-quick scheme by employing lazy and exploitative ways to get views without them actually putting any effort themselves. Go watch Dark Viper AU's series on reaction content for more information. It's a really great series of videos, and I highly recommend you watch them. By all of us creators having our own individual websites and knowing the investment that's involved, that will scare away a ton of the grifters that don't want to deal with all of the work of establishing a website and putting out content. It's so easy to just become a reaction channel and letting YouTube handle the rest. But that usually doesn't last long before they get in trouble and have to hide behind their Patreon paywalls and see how much more money they can squeeze out of this before they get banned completely. And even if there's a bunch of people you don't like, you no longer have to be associated with them by being on the same platform as them. You can just not interact with them and go about your own business. Content based around drama would be reduced significantly because most people wouldn't worry about how one man's video will make YouTube look bad or create an adpocalypse that screws over everybody. Now, whatever someone does with their website is their business only, and you can stay out of it without getting dragged along with them. In the best case scenario, when we all have our own website or groups of people that get together to form their own site, and then other sites that exist as content curators or aggregators that highlight all the good stuff, most of the people that you hate on YouTube will go the way of reply girls and potentially no longer exist. Or at the very least, no longer exist near you. Okay, so you have a website, but how do you pay for all of this stuff? Chances are, if you're a popular YouTuber, you're already making money with selling merch, doing sponsorships, putting ads on your website, or getting donations from Patreon, Subscribestar, OnlyFans, Fantia, Pixif, Fanbox, YouTube memberships, Twitch subs, Superchats, Bits, PayPal, begging in the street. Okay, you get what I mean. There's a ton of other ways that you can make money over the internet that doesn't involve getting YouTube ad revenue for your videos. But what about the video hosting? The idea is that eventually YouTube won't be a requirement at all for your career. So how do you change from just embedding YouTube videos on your site to using something different? Well, the solution would be to pay for your own video hosting service. And I really do mean a service and not a brand that wants to come off as a super clean, family-friendly thing that polices everyone. It might seem like a lot to do now, but all companies do is just follow the money. As soon as there's a need for that, there will be companies coming out of the woodwork offering you affordable video hosting for your site, and they will all compete with each other to be the best one. And yes, I can guarantee you that all of these will allow you to run ads on those videos too. And again, don't let just one company run everything. If everyone uses the exact same video player, it'll only take one or two troublemakers to end up with the YouTube problem again. Here's where I think having different kinds of players for different kinds of creators can be a good idea. I can already see the advertisements now for special video players made for gamers or something like that. You want to stream with no latency and super high quality? Do our thing! You want something more simple if you're vlogging? Then do a different video player service that might be less expensive or have a different set of features that benefits that kind of content. The thing that will really count is to open things up so that there's many options for different people, and not letting one corporation conquer your life and monopolize the space to the point that you have no other choices. In other words, we're not taking the whole YouTube pie and moving it somewhere else. We're just splitting it up into many different pieces and spreading it all over the internet. No one is carrying the entire weight. We're just taking the pieces that we need. You can't do any of this overnight. It would be incredibly stupid for me to say, okay everyone, let's all just leave YouTube today. Let's pull a Twitch blackout and just stop doing YouTube for a day. Because that's obviously not gonna work. This will be a slow process where persistence and being smart will be the key to success. Here's where the influencers can actually do some influencing by encouraging their fans to frequent their sites more often. Maybe you can have benefits or exclusive content or whatever you can come up with. You're a creator, so be creative. You can even see a website like Normal Boots doing a similar thing where they used to make their newest videos available a few days early on their website and putting it up on YouTube later. However, I would want to be a little bit more risky than that and take it a step further. Just upload the video as unlisted on your channel, then embed it onto your site, and that's it. Keep it there so that people have no choice but to go to your website to see your work. And again, this is just an option. I'm just throwing ideas out there. I'm not saying that you have to do this. And before you ask, yes, it will most definitely annoy people at the start. But it's just a matter of time before people get used to it. And if those people hate YouTube as well, they might be easier to convince. There's going to be some discomfort in making this change in the same way that any big change in your life can feel. But it's gonna be necessary if we want to escape YouTube's iron grip. It won't happen overnight. The only way to do this successfully is if, number one, everyone starts doing it, as in making it trendy, attractive, and profitable. If you want to make all the popular people do this too, then you have to guarantee them that they're gonna make money in some way. And number two, doing it slowly, because a harsh, sudden change will only scare people away. It's just gonna leave a bad impression and no one's gonna want to do it at all anymore. People are just gonna say, nah, we already tried that and it didn't work, and that's it, the whole plan is ruined now. If all of this works, and say maybe 5 years from now, or maybe even more than that, everyone goes to a creator's website instead of YouTube itself, you can start transitioning into a different video player that's not YouTube. And assuming that this new video player service will also allow you to run ads on top of all of the other revenue streams that you have, then I'd say we're pretty solid. Let's assume that all of this works out. We live in a totally different, decentralized world of content creation. If you don't have your own personalized website and brand, then maybe you're a part of a group of creators sharing the same site. Some examples being places like That Guy with the Glasses, Giant Bomb, or even stuff like Normal Boots. Everyone just bookmarks their favorite website onto their browser, or they frequent curator websites that let you know which sites are the cool ones to visit. So how would YouTube react to this? Would they do anything? Honestly, I have no idea, but I will assume yes. I can only imagine that all of the changes that we have ever wanted will most likely be done then, under the assumption that all of the people that left will come crawling back to YouTube. I can already see them bringing back the dislike bar just to get people into their good graces again, but it would be far too late by then. Or maybe they won't do anything, who knows? We currently live in a world where if your project fails or you get criticized for anything, you usually get called a white supremacist and no responsibility is taken by anyone. You're just too racist to understand my great ideas or something like that. So maybe YouTube will just pretend that nothing bad is going on, and they'll keep advertising late night talk shows, supporting bullies, and pushing family-friendly content forever while ignoring more criticism. Anyone that doesn't want to be part of the YouTube family is probably just some right-wing white supremacists that left because they weren't allowed to be racist on YouTube. Yeah, that's totally it. That's why they broke up with me. I'm just too good for them, and they couldn't handle my bad bitch energy. It's not like people got sick of us or anything. We didn't even need those guys anyway. I'm just gonna keep staring at the trash fire as I convince myself that YouTube is truly the place to be, and that there will never be any other option ever. And now you know why I titled this video in the way that I did. The best solution that I can think of to fix YouTube is by not even trying to fix it. Just go somewhere else, make your own thing, and let YouTube scramble in panic as they try to shove in as many improvements as possible in a desperate move to keep people on the platform. At least, that's my prediction. As I said, content creators are only a small part of YouTube, so a lot of it depends on how many people we can influence to join our side. Whether you agree or disagree with anything I said, it doesn't really matter to me. What truly matters to me is that I tried to come up with a solution, which is more than what most creators on YouTube can say. I am personally sick and tired of yelling at the rest of the world and hoping that they change for me. I think it's high time that we changed how we do things, so that the rest of the world can see, smell where the money's coming from, and then follow our example. I remember a long time ago, before YouTube was even considered a viable career, before even the thought of money even crossed the mind of most creators, we started doing this before anyone even cared about the internet to the degree that we all do now. We were the pioneers for the future. When YouTube was new, I remember kids in my class who make fun of me for having a channel. They said that I was being ridiculous, that I was embarrassing myself, and that I was better off quitting this stupid, weird internet thing for nerds. My parents were afraid that anything that wasn't Google was just some weird virus that would break my computer. And now, I don't know any mom that doesn't have her face shoved into a phone with Facebook on it. Fast forwarding to the current day, and literally everyone has a YouTube channel, including some of the naysayers that I grew up with, by the way. Now everyone is fighting for a chance to be that person that buys a mansion with all the money they made by staring at Bill Burr stand-up clips every day, or by playing Minecraft every day, or by pretending to be rich every day, or just staring at TikToks every day. But none of that happened overnight. It took years for this reality to happen. When nobody believed in us, we kept going, and eventually people started seeing things our way. Even giant corporations pride themselves on getting a big online following now. YouTube just made it easier for people to see that. And honestly, most of us are starting to outgrow our little bird's nest here on YouTube, and we need to eventually spread our wings to brave new worlds. Because we are not just YouTubers, we're creators, writers, artists, entrepreneurs, business owners, comedians, all of these many different things, and reducing all of that to just YouTubers, like giving the credit to someone that didn't do all that much. YouTube provided a free stage for us to express ourselves, but that's it. The performance that comes out of that is ours, and we can take that with us anywhere to any other stage. YouTube did not make me. I did. And YouTube did not make you either. It all came from your ingenuity, your creativity, and your effort. All we're doing right now is breaking up with our abusive, gaslighting boyfriend and just moving away to a different home. It'll take a little bit of work, and it definitely won't be without struggle as people try to convince you that it's a useless effort. But if there's a will, there's a way. The spark of creativity in all of us is still there, and so long as there's games to review, movies to talk about, things to react to, news to write about, and stories to tell, that light will never be extinguished, no matter what website you're seeing it from. Everyone followed our example back then when we were just a bunch of weird nerds making weird videos. And I think it's time for those pioneers, whoever they may be, to make themselves known and start building something new. YouTube, Twitch, and other giant companies of its ilk will see the tides turn someday, and they'll have no choice but to either better themselves or watch the rest of the planet spin forward without them. So anyway, be sure to bookmark my website, goodgamefun.com. It's pretty cool.